Good morning, friends. Welcome back to another exciting video. Today starts our gimmick portal, Black Friday Summon, which is very exciting. I am a sucker for these gimmick portals. I really am. I think that they are a lot of fun. Now, here's the two sides of that. I am a sucker for these gimmick portals, but these gimmick portals have also not been particularly kind to me. So it's kind of a weird mix of the two, right? I'm not going to not pull in them, but I always try to remind myself that, like, just because they're a gimmick portal doesn't guarantee you any more luck at this particular pull than any other pull. So anyway, just keep that in mind. Let's take a look and go over this Black Friday summon. We'll review these characters. We'll do all that fun stuff right here, right now. So first things first, let's talk about the pull rates, right? So appearance rates in this particular portal, first of all, it says that it has to be costumes released within the last 729 days. Basically, that's a 2-year cutoff is what we're looking at. So you're only going to get characters that came out within the last 2 years, which is kind of nice, right? But 2-year-old character is still going to feel fairly less relevant than a new one. So just understand you might still be a little bit disappointed by that. 2 years ago, the power creep was a lot different. All right. Next thing to consider is pull rates. What are we looking at? What did they offer us in this particular one? Well, in this one, it says legendary featured hero is 0.2%. That's normal. The featured heroes usually do exist at the 0.2% range, which is so low. But, it happens. It's just the way it goes. The legendary hero, however, the non-featured, is 3.6. Now, 3.6 is a relatively high percentage. So basically, instead of that normal like 1 in 100, you're looking at more like cutting it down to a third, like 1 in 30-ish pulls, in theory, is going to be able to trigger a 5-star. So if you're doing a 30 pull, statistically, you might get to that. I should get at least a 5-star out of this scenario, but with that being said, there's no promises, right? Like, it's still, each individual pull has to hit that marker. So just understand that that's not like the best odds in the world, but it is still way better than a standard portal. So this is kind of exciting. The other fun gimmicky thing that they added in this is that you're going to get a guaranteed ascended hero, right? Is that what it says? Which is pretty fun. So power grade rates. Ascended once, 30%. Ascended twice, 30%. Fully ascended, 20%, limit broken once, 12%, and limit broken twice, 7.5. So basically what that's saying is it's going to allow you to get characters that are already leveled up a bit. Now, it's interesting how they did this, right? Because ascended once is only the first tier, which is usually relatively easy to get through. That's not a big reward, but still kind of cool. Ascended twice, 30%, still not a particularly exciting scenario there. You'd still have to go through quite a bit of the leveling process. And then they skip ascended a third time to take you right to fully ascended. Fully ascended means you'll get them at 80, all right? So that's kind of fun. Then you only have to decide if you're, limit breaking them. But there is the opportunity that they give it limit broken to you once or twice. Getting a character at 90 right out of the portal is super cool. Like, I love that idea. 7.5% is a little bit lower than I'd like it to be, but the reality is this is just going to save you time, energy, and effort in getting this new hero that you pulled up and ready into your roster, and I do think that's a cool idea. As a reminder, we are going to go ahead and have every new character that's currently available in the game in here. In fact, here's the most recent Monster Island one. Another couple features. We've got the new family here from the Temple Summon. If you go over, you got the Beast and Rose de Flo, who have been absolute monsters in the wars that I've seen them in since they came out. And then if you go back, another thing worth noting is that we have to go back a ways. All those new characters. And you'll see what I'm getting to. I'm sorry, this is taking a moment. Oh, there we go. Look who else is in here. It's our Valiant Vegetable friends. Now, if you remember, these guys were featured in the Harvest Summon. We haven't really seen a lot of ways to get them since then, but they will, of course, be in this Black Friday Summon at a higher pull rate than the 0.2% they were at before, I suppose you can say. But that's still not particularly likely. So don't go chasing them forever. Just know that they are there, and that's kind of fun. So let's go ahead and get back into the fun here and do some reviews on these new characters. We're going to start things out with our good friend Lane here. So Lane is going to be a blue ice hero, rogue class. He definitely looks like a rogue based on this picture here. The family bonus for these guys is going to be Shady Scoundrel Family. Bonus for 1, 2, or 3 heroes. All allies get plus 10%, plus 12%, or plus 13%, depending on the number of heroes you have. Attack stack each time this character attempts to ransack an enemy. Okay, so first of all, point out that's all allies. So it's very cool that this family bonus is buffing the entire team. And 10% attack stack is pretty nice. But what is this ransack all about? Let's see if we can find some more info on that. Thieves' Opportunity down in the passive says, at the start of each turn, this character has a 50% chance to ransack a random enemy. Okay, so there's the ransack thing. 50% chance at the start of each turn. Ransack steals 200 health, safely steals 1 random growth effect, positive stack, or status effect buff from the enemy. This includes undispellable buffs and dance effects. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, safe stealing bypasses secondary effects such as damage on removal from the remove buffs, passive skills, and family bonuses can still activate. Okay, so very cool that this guy is going to attempt to steal something, and we're not only talking about growth, but also undispellable and dance effects can be stolen, so this guy can break a couple of the rules that exist in the game currently and still steal stuff, so interesting there. He has a second passive, which is going to be Cheat Death. Okay, so the first time this character would receive fatal damage, they instead redirect that damage to a random enemy. In battles with multiple waves, this effect is refreshed at the beginning of each wave. Okay, so that's pretty cool too, right? Like, it's going to make these guys kind of a headache, because I think a lot of people might forget about that while they're fighting in wars and raids. They're going to go ahead and try to get that lethal kill blow in and end up smacking themselves in the face for that damage instead. So be wary of how you choose to kill these guys. It's probably best if you are able to maybe take them out with like a dot tick or something like that. I mean, if you try to take them with a sniper hit, you may end up like smacking yourself for a significant hit instead. So just keep that in mind. This guy also starts with the counterattack Aether Power, so he is redirecting some more damage back from that for the first 6 turns. Only 60%, but is still helpful. All right, now, down in our specials department, we've got Roadside Surprise. Sure. Activated at average speed, it is going to deal 585% damage to the target and minor damage to nearby. The caster goes into ambush. Damage dealt by the caster is increased by 50%, and damage received by them is reduced by 40%. There is a little question mark. Additional information. When the character goes into ambush, all existing cleansable ailments and wither effects are removed. This character can't gain new ailments or wither effects while in ambush. This effect is uncleansable. Ambush ends when the character has received 1,500 damage. Okay, so that's what I was looking for. I wanted to know what caused ambush to end, because I doubt they were going to make an ability like that that just lasts the entirety of the remainder of the fight. So you have to do 1,500 damage to him to stop an ambush, but remember, he will get a new ambush as soon as we get to an average special again. So that's powerful, and we'll talk about that more in a sec. He also does extra damage versus fire, so that is worth adding, because he already will be strong against fire, but he'll do even stronger hits against fire. All right, so it's time. It's time to kind of wrap up and summarize this guy and grade him and all that fun stuff. So let's talk about it. First things first, let's begin with the fact that this guy's family bonus is pretty awesome. He is going to be stacking attack for the entire team, and it is a stack. So each time he attempts to ambush, they're going to start with 10, then 20, then 30, then 40% attack for everyone. That's a very, very powerful ability. Plus, his Thieves' Opportunity is activating this ability passively. So at the beginning of each turn, he does it without any effort from you. It's pretty cool, or at least he has a 50% chance to do it, I guess would be a better way of putting it. Plus, he also is stealing some sort of buff and 200 health. All of that stuff is neat. So he's got some self-healing in there and all that fun stuff. Can't really complain about that. Then, this passive right here to save him the first time he would die, I like that. I mean, it's not like game-changing, but it's pretty cool, especially if you catch people off guard with it. All right, down here, damage-wise, a 585% hit at average speed isn't like unheard of, but it's still a very solid hit. Remember, he'll do extra damage versus fire too, so he's really going to be wrecking on some fire heroes. Then he goes into this ambush ability, which is really cool, because that's going to like cleanse him of all of his status ailments. He's going to do 50% more damage and receive 40% less damage until he's received 1,500. And he can't be affected by new effects either. Like, he can't gain new ailments or withers or anything like that. This is a very strong protective cloak he gives himself when he's in ambush, because he's reducing his damage by 40%. So you say 1,500 is not hard to get to. Right, but it's 1,500 after you take 40% off, right? So, like, that's, what, almost another 15%. So that'd be like more like 2150. You'd probably have to do 2150 damage to him normally to take him out of ambush, because of the reduced damage he's taking in ambush to get out of it, if that makes sense. So very cool. I think this guy's got a lot of survivability due to his ambush potential. Also, in ambush, if he gets to his next special, that additional 50% damage dealt is going to take this 585% damage hit and change it more up to like, well, it's almost 600, another 300 would be 9. So more like an 850% hit to the target. And then if they are red or fire, they're going to take even additional damage. So like I said, this guy's going to murder some red heroes, especially if he's in ambush mode. You better watch out, because he's going to start like just absolutely wrecking. So where are we at? How do we feel about this guy? Rate him on a 1 to 10. I mean, he's a monster. He's like these featured heroes usually are. But let's say this guy deserves a 9 out of 10. I don't think he's like I don't give 10s out often, so just understand that. But I don't think like he's insane enough to get to a 10, because in reality, I think a lot of his stuff is manageable. He's just very, very strong, right? So, and that's what we'd expect out of new heroes, is that they are very strong. So yeah, congrats if you pull this guy. All right, so let's go ahead and work our way to the next one. Okay, Next up, we have Duval. Okay, so Duval is going to be some of the similar things, but we're going to go over all of this again for this video as well. So Duval is going to be the Ranger class, which gives him a chance to bypass defensive buffs sometimes. The family bonus, as a reminder, will be for 1, 2, or 3 heroes. All allies will get plus 10, plus 12, plus 13% attack stack each time this character attempts to ransack an enemy. Max stack of 10. Okay, so remember, that's all allies are getting this boost, which is super cool. Down here in the passes department, again, we get these opportunities. So the percentage stayed the same at 50% chance at the beginning of each turn to ransack a random enemy. This will steal 200% health, safely cleanse one random growth effect, positive stack, or status ailment buff from the enemy. This includes undispellable buffs and dance effects, and also it's going to bypass the it's going to bypass most things, but it will still trigger the family bonuses and passive effects. But everything else it will safely avoid, which is pretty cool that it is going to steal that. Now, over in the Aether Power department, we do get Dodge. Dodge is going to give him a plus 20% chance to dodge special skills that deal damage for 6 turns. So that's helpful, gives him a little extra survivability if he's able to pull off those dodges at the beginning of the fight. Now, activated at fast speed, we have a Thieving Shot. So this is going to ransack the target, stealing health and buffs. Oh, gosh, okay. So let's see what this says. This ransack is stronger. I noticed when it said stealing health and buffs plural that it might be a little bit different. So when he ransacks with his special, it's going to steal 400 health and safely steal one random growth effect, positive stack, or yada yada from the target. So I guess it's still only 1. I'm a little bummed about that because I expected it to be more than 1 when it was saying health and buffs. But that's fine. It's okay. It's still going to do 1, but at least he's stealing 400% health when he activates his special. Worth noting, this is an additional ransack that will go off on top of the 50% chance he has to ransack each turn. So it's going to stack that attack stack faster for the whole family due to his family bonus as well. So still very cool at fast speed. Deals 560% damage to the target. The target receives 2,040 poison damage over 3 turns. This effect spreads to nearby enemies. Okay, so immediately, this guy reminds me of the new Daroga. He was just featured in Soul Exchange. He was a green opera hero character, if you remember who he is. He operated at fast speed. He was a sniper, very similar. And he did an attack stack for everyone when he cast his special. He's doing the attack stack just through the family bonus. He did a massive dot. This guy's doing a massive dot. That dot spread to other characters. His dot spreads to other characters. He's basically a new version of Daroga, which is fine. I think that character was cool. I even recommended him as a good choice. So this guy will be super helpful, especially on things like Titans on top of regular fights, because of how much damage this guy's doing, and that attack stack's really going to help the rest of your team do more damage to Titans, etc. So that's where we're kind of at. I think this guy ransacks faster, which stacks the buffs faster. He's got the cheat death as well. So the first time he would be killed, he instead redirects that damage to another target. So that's awesome as well. If we had to rate this guy, I would say he's not quite as much fun as the last hero we just did because he doesn't get the ambush potential, which I think adds a ton of survivability. But this guy is still a very solid attacker. And because of that, I think he still deserves a 9. I mean, he might be an 8.5. He might not get to the same level the other one did. Maybe we put him at an 8.5, but like he's very, very good still. Like he's very good. And congrats if you are able to pull Duval here. He's definitely something you should level. I just think that, in my opinion, I'm a little more excited for the blue version of these featured heroes, but that's fine. Either way, it's all good. So like, I do appreciate that you guys stuck around for these reviews and you kind of saw what the portal was all about. These gimmick portals are exciting. What I'm going to go ahead and do is I will do a 10 poll now just to give people an example of what they can get into for this. I do love these portals. It's not hard to convince me to pull in them. But again, they haven't always been the kindest portals to me. So we're hoping to turn some of that luck around. I am very excited. I wish myself the best here, and I wish you all the best if you're pulling as well. But let's get into it, shall we? Let's just go ahead and do the thing. So here we go. Wow. Okay, so this is cool. I did pull Hefferfides. This is a very good healer and a fun pull out of here. The only problem is I literally just selected her from Soul Exchange yesterday. Like I'm not kidding you. I just selected her from Soul Exchange yesterday. So that's kind of like a really rough go considering I just spent 20 souls getting her and now I have a second. But it is very cool that I was able to get a very viable character out of here. And she is ascended twice. So I mean I'm a little bit faster along in leveling her now. I would have loved to get like a double limit broken or something like that. As you can see, all these other things in here, like I have a limit broken twice menace, which I guess is interesting, right? Like that's cool. Then I also have limit broken twice Zarola. So getting some of these for like your 3 and 4 stars isn't necessarily bad. Oh, I got a limit broken twice Zhao Yu too. So this guy's really good. Him leveled, but I think it's cool that I got a second one there. Limit broken once, ascended once, fully ascended. So yeah, either way, and fun. I can't believe I pulled it in Soul Exchange yesterday. That's absolutely bonkers. And before I forget, let's go ahead and do this chest opening as well. I mean, that's, I guess, some interesting stuff. I don't know if anything was that exciting in that chest opening. I prefer some of the other chests I've seen, but hey, you know what? We're much more interested in the heroes and the leveled and, ascended and all the limit broke stuff. So I totally get that. All right. Well, that was interesting. But hey, you know what? Thanks for tuning in. And if you do like what I do, at the bottom right, there's a little button. You can click on that. You can find me easier in the future. And we'll see you next time, everyone. Thanks so much.